All right, guys, I think that this is going to be a powerful, powerful episode of The Higher Self. We've got Jenny Dinovi here. Yeah?
Hi.
Did I say that okay? Yeah? How are you?
I'm good, but I'm actually a little bit nervous.
That's okay to be nervous. What's causing you to be nervous?
You know, people have their dreams, and some want to have a family, some want to build a house, but up in top on my dream and manifestation board is you and this podcast.
Really?
Yeah.
And you're here. And
Yeah.
it's interesting. I remember one of the things that I saw one of your clips that you made. And you said, spirituality is not easy. It's hard. It's hard work. The process is hard. And I remember seeing you like from afar, thinking like she gets it, and I want to interview you. And just last week, I think you made a comment, and I was like, hey, I want you on the show, and here you are. So it's crazy how things happen. So welcome here.
Thank you.
Yeah. So give me the basics of your story. I think we're going to get deep into the conversation between men and women, relationships, healing. But how did all of this begin for you? How did your awakening journey begin?
I was born into, or my mom is one of the most, spiritual that I know. So that was, of course, helping me a lot. But she's with Jesus, and you know, but that really opened me up from the start to be open to everything, basically. And then I would say becoming a yoga teacher was a big part of it, to open up even more that there's goddesses and Hindu and what is this? What is that? And then it was actually like the biggest thing for me was a deep psychosis.
You experienced that.
Yeah.
What was that like?
Oof. I've said it before, but it was like shaking hands with the devil.
Really?
Mm.
What triggered it?
I'm still trying to figure that out because that summer I did party a lot
Uh-huh.
with drugs. And this happened in October, and the party was July. So I actually don't think that it is. I would, in all honesty, say that in authenticity, But I was recording TV for Sweden, and there was something happening in this TV program that totally like broke me. And I believe that that was the start of the psychosis.
Hmm. And so I've heard of, psychosis happening. I've heard of some people, I'm going to be just as authentic as possible here, but, I'm a big proponent of plant medicine. But I have heard that, in very rare occasions, when take too much of it, that you can go into a medicine induced psychosis. I have heard of this. So I've the one individual that I heard it happen to, it was a process of like 3 or 4 months. Is that how long it took you as well?
Yeah, for about 3 months, I have no memory. Like I've been riding people I would never ride in another case, and I went to places and restaurants like I would never go there. So it's very scary because you have to realize that I've done this. I need to own it, but I have no memory of what I've been doing.
Wow, I love that. How did you get out of it, and how did the process begin for you of your you're coming back into your body, and you say such wonderful things on your clips and on your Instagram. How did all of that start for you?
Yeah, so how I got out of it was actually that I was dating a guy, and he's a very nice guy from Stockholm, and he was living there. I was living on the West Coast, and he was making a huge career at this time. I had no idea why he was dating me in my, state, but he had gone through a psychosis before. So he knew exactly how to get me out of it. And that was really saving me, because I'm not the person that will run to the doctor. So I was a little bit trapped in my psychosis because I didn't want that kind of help. So he knew every step out. So he helped me.
Isn't that interesting? Like, isn't that interesting that of all the people in the world, you happen to attract someone who had been through it? It's almost as if I'm feeling as though this was a necessary part of your soul's journey.
Yeah, 100%. Because now if I'm making content or if I'm coaching someone, like going from that, like deep psychosis, I was also suicidal. I tried to drown myself in this, and I would never otherwise. I was sick. But going from that to where I am today was like getting the piano of how to go from depression to joy.
And so I love that. Do you think you went through that so that you could help others go through that as well?
Yeah, 100%. I remember one time when I was like really close to like, no, now I'm going all the way, taking this life. But then I was at a crossroad and I could see the crossroad, because you're all like weird in your head in a sense. So I could see the crossroad, and it was like, if you choose to live, I want you to run until the point where you are dragging others out of this.
Yeah. When you said from depression to joy, I remember I had a medicine journey once where they showed me it's as if I saw two paths, two currents, like like a stream of water. I saw two currents, moving this way. And the top current had so many little dots, right? And I asked them, I said, "What are the dots?" They said, "Those are people." And I go, that's pretty cool. So it's like all these little people, and they're going, basically from beginning to end. What I later saw it as from like birth to death, right? So it was life. This was life. And then I noticed that in the bottom current, there were very few dots, very few. But the top current was packed, Jenny, packed. It was so much that you couldn't see behind it. You understand what I'm saying? It was like so dark with so many dots that you couldn't realize that there was any separation in it. And I said, "What is this?" And they said, "The top current is fear. It's the frequency that humanity is currently living in. And the bottom current is love." And I remember thinking like, "Oh my God, this is how many people live in the energy of fear. And this is how few live in the energy of love." Yeah. And I could resonate so much with that because that was me, you know. And I thought, wow. And they literally said, "Your purpose, and not just mine, our purpose, everyone's purpose that awakens," right? Everyone's purpose that reconnects to their heart, their soul, is to not only make the transition from fear to love, but to help others make that transition from fear to love. I really, really believe that when it's happening right now in humanity, we are all starting to awaken, we are all starting to heal, and all of our unique gifts are starting to come online. Yeah. When that happens, it's like we're literally going to see an energetic shift on the planet. And I really do believe we're going to live and experience heaven on earth. Because what I see happening right now in humanity, the amount of people that message us asking us, saying, "I want to heal my childhood wounds. I want to heal my mother wound, my father wound. I want to heal this thing that causes me to keep attracting emotionally unavailable people." There's so many people that are ready to heal, and it's really beautiful to see.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's not bad people in the world, it's limited people. They are limited to their awareness. That's why they act in a bad way. But they're limited.
Yeah.
So people like you draw them up. That's why this is changing the world.
Yeah, it absolutely is. When you say limited, right? Let's go into that a little bit more. How are they limited, and in what aspects of life do you see people that are limited prior to their awakening?
I think their subconscious is limited. So it's all about how they grew up. The teachers, the instructors, the church, religion, this, that, we are carved into becoming someone. Parents gave us some of it, and you become like your subconscious becomes that.
That's right.
And then it's all about to reprogram that into love, joy,
Right.
happiness.
What you're saying is essentially is when we're born, we're given an identity, and that identity is constructed around, and it's really sad, but the color of your skin, your economic class, the country you're born in, the religion you follow in, even your name. Like, even if you really think, if you really deep it, even your name is like, all of it is constructing a pattern in your subconscious mind that keeps you separate from everybody else and separate from yourself. And then on top of that, society has created this wonderful, wonderful business through us as human beings, because it knows we are so separate, right? So separate from love. So then we are constantly looking for love outside of us. And society goes, hey, I'll show you how to find love. Find love in, altering yourself. Find love in, the clothes and the brands that you wear. Find love in success and power. Find love in a relationship, right? But what people don't understand is you can never really find love outside of you. It, it's an endless search. The only place to find love is within. And I want to talk to you about how this limitedness that people have transitions into relationships, particularly with women.
Mm.
When you think about, and I want you to just like really just speak whatever comes to you, but when you think about the current status of relationship, the current status of, women, there's so many women out there that want to attract love. What's blocking them from doing that?
I think that many women wants to find this healthy masculine man that you often talk about. But to attract a healthy masculine man, you have to do your work. There are parts of you that you need to look at. There are parts of you that you need to let go of. And there are parts of you that definitely needs a flashlight. And I've been doing this healing shit myself. I know the journey, and you've been a big part of it. I remember seeing you a few years ago, and I was like, oh my God, I have so much work to do to attract what he's talking about.
What was the work, right? For women who are out there listening and they go, there's something here. There's something here that these two are talking about that I need to really pay attention to. And maybe it's their first time ever listening to an episode. What is the work, and what is the stuff that people need to let go of? In this case, women.
I think women needs to look at what they are afraid of looking at. It's, in this healing journey, it's easy to look at your sexy scars or what you're ready to heal and touch upon. But when it comes to the parts that you don't want to look at, the deep, dark stuff that's been holding you back from actually stepping into that dream version woman of you, it's looking at just your body. How are you using your body? Are you using your body in a manipulative way to get what you want?
Here we go. Here we go. I When I think of the human race right now, I see women who have been, I'll say it this way, who are so limited that they see themselves as a body, and they use that body in a manipulative way to get what they are craving and what they are missing inside. And to me, Jenny, I'm going to say this. Yeah, I don't know how else. I'm just going to say this straight out. But like, if I, as an awakened man, if I was a single man, and I look on someone's Instagram profile and I see that all of what you put out is based on you getting attention based on your body, what you're telling me is you're telling me that you believe that the value you have to offer to the world is on your outside. It's in your looks. It's in your presence. And my question is, what happens when that goes away? What happens when you get older? Or will you do what most of the women in society are doing today? It's this never ending changing and altering and adjusting and coloring to avoid the inevitable, which is the beautiful process and circle of life and death. It's almost as if the more you're focused on the outside, the more disconnected you are from life itself. And quite frankly, I think it's even deeper. It's a sign that you're afraid of death. You're afraid of life, which means you naturally are afraid of death. Does that relate to you in any way?
Yeah, and I'm a tantra teacher too. I love expression and being in your body and dancing and all of that. I still dance with red lights in my living room. But what in you, this is what you need to look at as a woman, what in you makes you believe that you have to do that in front of anybody else than God?
Wow. You just said what the world needs to hear. Go deeper into that. Because this is our culture right now. Even our awakened women.
Yeah.
Our awakened women, it's like being awakened, you set up a camera and you are now, it's what within you, just think for a second, right? And I'm all for, yes, the feminine and being in your body and loving yourself and spending time. It's part of the process. But like what you're saying is so true. What within you makes you think you have to film that and share it? Like what is that? What is the energy that is calling you to do that? Because if it's love, I don't know that love requires that much attention.
No, and I remember it. I remember like when my own content and, it started to take off. I was actually so programmed, as we are by society, that I was like, holy shit, I'm loved for my brain and my voice. Wow, my soul. This is cool. And it's a totally different feeling. I can tell you that I've been a model. I've had that, attention for the body. It's empty. You feel nothing because you haven't yet accepted the person standing in the mirror. That's why you crave attention. That's why you want to change your body. Every part of it. Because you haven't still accepted the woman in the mirror.
That moved me emotionally. It moved me emotionally because the woman is a representation of our heart as a society. And so if our women cannot accept the person in the mirror, humanity cannot accept the person in the mirror. This is how deep it's intertwined. It's not. I remember one of my most powerful journeys with ayahuasca. I was having a difficult time mourning my mother. And I was at this phase where I was in this phase where I was always speaking to a medium. And in truth, what I now realize is that medium, because of who I was, had like her energy in me because she knew I wanted answers from my mom. And it was a weird, like dark, it wasn't good. I'm not saying mediums are bad. I'm saying the relationship between us wasn't good. Anyhow, in this, I remember I would always want to hear from my mom, and I was always want to hear from my mom from the other side. And in this one journey with ayahuasca, she showed me, she said, your mom is not your mom. And it showed me that my mom, the physical body of her, my mom, and it showed me behind her, which is the feminine energy. The feminine energy. And then behind her, I saw ayahuasca. And so this is when all of this started for me, is to understand it's like, my mom is not my mom, and you are not you, and Jen is not Jen. And no. It's the feminine. It's the feminine energy. All you guys are just the physical representation of the feminine energy. And so the feminine energy of humanity right now, think about what you just said, is afraid to accept itself for who it really is. And that's sad and yet perfect at the same time, because it is where we are as a society. Jenny, for someone to have that type of profound knowledge and insight and understanding, into something that is so deep, I have to ask you, if a woman is listening right now and maybe they felt, there's no way they didn't feel something in their body when you said what you said, how do they start the process of accepting the woman in the mirror? How did that process start for you?
Yes, a few years ago, I actually told a friend of mine that this was my dream to sit here right now with you.
Hmm.
And this friend actually knows you.
Who's
So,
that?
can I say names?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Moa,
Moa.
Mindy.
Oh, Moa. Oh, get out of here.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah.
love him. Yeah, he's my brother. Yeah, he's good people. Yeah.
So he said something like, do you know the work you need to do to get there? And I was like, I actually was like, yeah, I know the work and I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
But it's not going to be comfortable.
No.
So I really needed to look at, because I, like many other women, I was attracting men that wasn't good for me. Men that was in their wounded feminine energy, basically. So I was like, okay, if I'm listening to your content and I really want to attract that, I need to face the woman in the mirror. So it was actually, I would say, the biggest part of it was mirror work, to work with her in the mirror.
And how does one do that? It's interesting you're bringing this up, because people ask me all the time, like, where does my journey begin? And I say, go look in the mirror. And I remember, Jenny, when I did this, I remember I had just moved to Austin. I was by myself, and I remember I would go to look in the mirror and forget about my body, just my eyes. I was uncomfortable. I was uncomfortable with me. Yeah. For someone who's out there, what are the steps, or how does one begin this process? How did it begin for you? What would you do? Would you go look in the mirror? Would you sit in front of it for hours? What did that look like?
Yeah, I would actually sit down, like cozy moment, light your candles on with the incense, and I would sit and ask myself like really deep, radical honesty questions that hurts the inner core of who I am. Just to get out what it actually is that I need to heal and need to work on.
And what did you find you needed to heal and work on?
A big part of it was, and at this time I was talking to one of my closest guy friends. He's one of the best therapists in Sweden, but he's also a priest. And he's a friend. And, it's better when they are your friend, because then you get their like what they actually want to say, not what they need to say in frames of therapy. Now, he said, your taste in men sucks. And you need to change you. You need to understand that this is about your world. This is about that you have been running the streets looking for him and looking for attention from a man. Like, please, is he going to be here? I want to attract him. Stop it. You are supposed to build your own castle. You're supposed to be so, occupied with being with you and in self-love and building your own, flower castle that you don't have time for men. That's when he's going to find you.
That's right. That's right. It's so interesting you said that, because that was me. That was me. I was so occupied my entire life looking for the one. And I want to go deep into this because two things you said. It feels like you are literally, you're saying my journey. So I think that there's truly something here. If you're out there listening and you want to change your life, like what she is saying is 100% truth. Because if you go back to any episode, and it's definitely going to be in my book, whenever I talk about my awakening started with very deep, uncomfortable questions that I was afraid to ask. For me, it was based off of religion. Like, is Jesus really coming back? Is he really coming back? What's there? Because if he was going to come back, like, why didn't he come back already? And if there was a burning bush back in the Bible, and if he used to bring people back from the dead, and if people were getting healed, these were the questions I would ask. When did that stop? When did all of the miracles stop, right? And I know what the ego will say. Oh, well, the miracles haven't stopped. Bullshit. They've completely stopped comparative based off of what was written in the Bible. You don't see the Red Sea parting anymore. You don't see any of that. So then I just started to ask, well, did this actually happen? Because if it actually happened, then why does it no longer happen? Who turned off the lights? Who flipped the switch and said, no, human beings can no longer access this type of power? I was scared to ask these questions. For me, it started with religion and my spiritual beliefs, because I was such a believer, right? Then it went into my relationship. Are you actually happy? I was so afraid to ask that one. So afraid to ask that one. It's scary to ask that one, because get ready for the truth. I was so afraid to ask that question because I knew the answer. And I knew the answer was no. And I knew what would have to happen if the answer was no. And I was afraid of all of that. And then it went to my career. And what I realized, Jenny, is that like my whole life had been built from this limited self, what you speak of. And so I want to keep going into this, right? You mentioned that you were attracting the wrong kind of men. And I think that a lot of women out there are doing that right now. Yeah?
Yeah.
What has to happen for a woman to no longer attract the wrong kind of men?
Yeah, so this was the beginning with this priest, and he said this, and I was like, oh my God, it's flipped the other way around. And then I watched your content at the same time. I was listening to one of your podcasts, and you said something about that it takes like 24 months or something to heal your feminine and masculine energy. And I was like, we are starting now, you know? And then I was totally honest with the mirror, like, this is the work you need to do to get there, what I believe. And one of the things was when he said this about your flower castle, I was like, okay, celibacy.
That's right.
Let's stop it.
That's right.
So I did 6 months of celibacy first. Now I'm on 1 year. The first celibacy, I also did no touch. So I was like, yeah, I really feel like I want to go to India and do this in a temple or something. But then I was like, nah, I want to be around pretty men and still be in my flower castle because I'm doing this to heal. And yeah, this was a big part. I was in Italy. I was sitting in a hotel room and I was just like, yeah, healing is also forgiveness. So I sat down on my own in a hotel room in Italy, calling every man, saying every man in my life story that I just had a little thought that I might have heard. Called them up. I made a list, called them up, sitting there on the floor like, I'm so sorry if I hurt you. Because I needed to heal the whole wound with men going on to my father. I had hours sitting, just looking my father in the eyes like, I really want to do this. Like, Dad, please help me in healing this. And he looked at me one time of those, it was a lot of times I did this. And he was very good in this. He was really like, my daughter really wants to heal. I'm going to help her. So yeah, massive thank you to him, But he looked at me once, and this was a powerful moment. And he said, I want you to stop dating me. And that was like, whoa. So I had been running towards like, if you have problems with money, if you have gambling problems, if you have problems with alcohol, if you have problems with, saying no to women, like having too many women around you, you're my type of guy.
Because that was your dad.
Because that was my dad. But I needed him to look me in the eyes and say, stop. And then I realized it's the opposite. I'm going for the opposite. So getting out of this first round of celibacy, it was very powerful to be in it because I started to see all of the ways that I did things for men and when I'm actually doing it for me. So the things that I kept doing, I'm still doing my nails, Probably that's self-love because I'm still doing it and I don't care about men right now. So yeah, that's the self-love thing. But there was some stupid things like I went to the gym with a cool bag instead of a backpack because that's ugly to walk with because, maybe he's going to be here.
Yeah. Maybe the one is going to be here and I don't want him to see me with a backpack or whatever. Yeah.
As if he wouldn't love me with an ugly backpack.
Yeah.
So it's cute to start to see all of those patterns and behaviors. But when I was going out of my first celibacy, and I actually thought about, no, I'm going to start dating again. And I'm going to be all out there. Tinder, I'm going to be, if I'm going to meet him, he might as well be there. I don't know. But I did this dream man list. I wrote down everything about him, 3 weeks. And I'm meeting someone. And this guy is one of the best in the military in Sweden. 8 years as a cop. And I was like, when I saw him sitting on my couch, and I was like, wow, that is the actual opposite to the man I used to attract.
Wow.
Not because only, he's in the military, he's masculine. He was also masculine in his energy.
Yeah.
And he was safe in his energy. He had safe arms. And for me to just, I could feel like, oh, thank you so much for just letting me feel how it feels like to be in safe arms, because now I know what I'm looking for.
I love that. You said so much. And I really am feeling like if you're a woman out there in this world, you need to listen to this episode because you're speaking so much truth. What you said about celibacy, I'm realizing was a part of my journey as well. I almost think this is almost like a blueprint for healing because if it happened for you and it happened for me, maybe this is literally this. It feels like there's a pattern here. I remember before I attracted Jen, Source told me clearly, audibly, it's time for you to be celibate. And I remember my answer was like, oh shit, no, I don't want to do that, right? Because I was right in the middle of being single, and it was a 6-month process for me, and I remember that it felt as though I was conserving my energy and also healing my energy at the same time. And I remember that the way you did forgiveness with every partner, I went and I did a cord cutting ceremony with every single partner. Every partner, every hookup, every drunk moment in my youth, every single one. And I remember I called their soul in, and one by one I said, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you. And I did a little cord cutting ceremony with them. And it was pretty deep. It was pretty deep. And in that process, something happened. Something happened where I was no longer chasing Jen, or I was no longer chasing the one. And when Jen finally came into my presence, I remember it was almost as if it was like a magnet. All of a sudden, quite frankly, for the first time in my life, like the prize wanted me. Do you understand? I'm sure you understand. It's like you always want the prize. You want to go get the prize. But now from all this work, the prize, to me, the most beautiful, the smartest, the most incredible woman on the planet, I was unattached if it happened or not. And it's like, she wanted me. And I want to say this to everybody. Go back and listen to what she's telling you because I am repeating it to you. This is 100% truth. If you want to attract your dream partner, you have to first become the dream partner that you've been looking for.
Yeah, and also I think it's that when you go into celibacy, you stop the picking and the looking and you give that to God. So that's the partner that will find you.
Yeah. You also mentioned, and I want, you mentioned the nails and like in the life of a woman, is this a thing where she, dresses herself or prepares herself always in her mind thinking how men are going to like it?
Always.
Always.
We always think about that. And always, I'm not going to speak for all women, but many women things like this. Like, what would he want me to wear? How would he want me to look like? Stop it. Become your dream woman so that the right man for you can find you.
I love that. I love that. There's a lot here.
And what you said too about the price, that's a big one too, because you and me can sit here like heal this, heal that, but we're saying that because we're right now living our dreams. That was one price, Jen. Your daughter, the abundance, the retreats, helping other people, the friends you have today. We are just sitting here trying to tell others that it's so worth it.
Yeah, and it's so available to everybody.
Yeah.
You're so right. All of it. The money, the love, the relationships, the joy, the purpose, the fulfillment. It's available to everyone who has the courage to go inward and do the work. available to everybody. What does it feel like to be living your dream? And what does it feel like as a woman who was a model, who probably lived her whole life being desired for her looks, to now have flipped the switch completely and now be admired and respected for your knowledge? What that must feel so powerful.
Yeah, it's so wild because I was thinking about it the other day. Like, what if I would, have a big Instagram account for fashion or lifestyle or, anything that has to do with the looks of the body? I would not feel what I'm feeling now. I'm 100% sure of it. So a few weeks ago, I was on a Tantra festival in Sweden. And this was the first time for me because this journey has been so fast. It's 1 year, social media. So I got to meet so many of the ones who are following me. And I had my guy friend saying one thing that was very important for me to hear. He said, Jenny, do you realize what they say when they walk up to you? And I was like, what do you mean? And he said, they all say the same first sentence. What is it? Thank you. And then he said, I don't believe that they would say that if this was a model account or if this was lifestyle.
I love that.
And what I'm feeling right now, coming from, I would say, a poor family. We didn't even have, food in the fridge. I got a foster care family early on. So this, abundance in doing all of this is wow to me. But I would say of everything I'm doing, the followers, the money, the relationships I'm attracting, nothing does it like the love you receive from helping people.
Mm-hmm. Nothing.
I think you can feel it too, like your retreats,
Absolutely nothing.
meeting them, seeing them in the eyes.
I'll tell you one story. There's a client of ours from Malaysia. She flew in to Awaken in I think New York or Miami. I don't know where. And every time she would come talk to me, she would always go like she was just very in victim energy. And and I can see that energy, and it's I go, okay, and I know when people are going to work with us, we'll help them get out of that, right? At this last awaken, I see her on the third day during our ceremony, and she's got her blindfold up and she is standing up and she is like opening her arms, and she's I could see and feel like there was grace in her, there was power in her, there was peace, there was no more like all that was gone, right? And afterwards we spoke and she goes, Danny, I get it. She says, I am one with God. I go, yep, you are. And she says, and I am one with you. I said, yep, you are. You absolutely are. And she says, and I no longer get it here. I get it here. That moment, when I see people go through that moment of self-actualization is everything for me. It's everything. Like that I get to live this life and help people go from fear to love. There's this I'm even humbled to say that. Like you don't even feel worthy of saying that. It's so beautiful. So beautiful.
Yeah, you're helping so many. And I would not be sitting here if it wasn't that you have been the person that I've been listening to the most. And now it's like a spider's net. Now I'm just doing you on my little.
That's it. That's it. That's how we do it. I gotta ask you this. Like you're living your dream. And we've both said now that the dream is available for everybody. if you had one message to encapsulate this episode for anyone out there that is listening that wants to live their dream, that wants to that is saying enough is enough. No more emotionally unavailable partners. No more living in fear. No more living in poverty. Like I want to live a life of abundance and joy. What would be your message?
My message would be, we talked about awakening before. So there's an awakening above the awakening. So what you said, like when they get to this part where I want to heal my father wound, I found this with my inner child, good. That's the awakening. There's an awakening above that. And that's when real stuff, like that's why we're here now. And that's when you've healed it and you let go of it. You let go, like Danny stopped telling the story of I am bad, like I am only attracting women that are not good for me. I am, you know, everybody or many has a story that they keep on telling, that this happened to me, so that's why this continue. But that's also you manifesting it. And it's not spiritual bypassing to heal it and move forward. You have to let go. Drop that backpack. Drop the backpack of trauma to be able to reach your highest dreams.
That's right. And do you have the courage to let it go? Because we get so much energy and attention the same way we get the attention from the body and from our looks is the same way we get attention from our trauma. The ego loves that shit because it fulfills you, it validates you, it makes you feel like you're someone. And then this is the scary part, is that trauma not only makes you feel someone and it gives you attention, but trauma also, literally, the energy of it is what attracts all of your friends, your career, your clients, your life's partner. That's why you're afraid to let go of the trauma. Because the trauma is feeding your ego and it's literally creating your life. So in order for you to let go of the trauma, you have to have the courage to say, I am willing to let go of my life. I'm willing to let my old life die. All of it.
Today,
Right now, no matter what happens, no matter what anyone says, I am willing to let go of my story. And I'm no longer going to live my life as a victim. Because I'm the one from deep within that has been creating it all this entire time.
amen.
And that's literally what I did. When the pastor, when I was going to go through my divorce, looked me in the eye and said, if you make this decision today, you're going to lose all of God's blessings on your life. I remember the moment I said, I don't know what love is and I don't know what God is, but that ain't it. And I'm willing to let go of everything to go find the truth. My career, my wife at the time, my money, I'm willing to fucking die right here, but I will no longer live in this bullshit that I know is not true. That's when your life will change forever.
This and entertainment. So many wants to attract the dream partner. You want to attract dream friendships. You can't hold on to the friendships that you know in your soul is not good for you. You need to say no to everything that is not in alignment with your highest timeline and dare to do that. That's going to take you there.
That's right. Because if you don't, where's the space? Where's the space for the new life when you're still holding on to the old one? Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
I feel like we were just starting to get into our flow too, by the way.
And I was thinking about this, self-love and the relationship with me. So it was very clear now I was going to book a hotel. And then my old self, my old unhealed self in celibacy now in London would be like, just take a, cheap room. You don't have a partner anyway. So don't waste. And the new me, I'm going to find the most luxurious room I can find.
Go to the Nobu Hotel.
Yeah.
An acquaintance is the owner. You're going to love it.
No, I lived there.
Oh, really?
You didn't know?
No.
I lived there 2 nights now.
Get out of here. Really?
And I was just like, why would this be better? Like, why would it not be enough being with me?
That's right.
And I think that's a big one too, that women thinks that, okay, so if I'm not going to get any attention from my body, then it's going to be a boring life. Like, no, it's not going to be a boring life. And it doesn't mean that you have to be, all natural and sleeves up. No, you can still be the pretty you.
Yeah.
But the difference is in why are you doing, like, look at someone like your wife. She can still be super pretty, but she's not doing it from an energy of, look at me.
Women, please listen to what I'm about to say. And if you do, like, you will attract your dream partner. I guarantee it. If I can tell you the thing that caused me to fall in love with Jen, the moment I saw the first image of her, and wait for her as a man for 3 years. For 3 years. This was my level of commitment. For 3 years, for her to become available and for the energy to bring us in alignment, it was what you just said. I always asked God, women, please listen, because this is what every awakened man and every healed man wants from his partner. I always ask God, listen, yes, I want to be with a beautiful woman. But if she's a beautiful woman that uses her beauty to get attention from the world, then to me, she's not beautiful where it matters. I want to find a beautiful woman that doesn't know that she's beautiful. That's how I used to articulate it in my mind. Yeah?
Yeah.
I want to find a beautiful woman that doesn't care that she's beautiful. And when I saw Jen, for me, it was like, it was the first time I had seen that. Like, it was like she was so beautiful, but she didn't care that she was beautiful. Like, she didn't need your attention because she was beautiful. And that was so rare that I was willing to swim from America to meet her. That's how committed I was.
Yeah, she's like, I'm beautiful and it's probably gonna, help me in life, but whatever, I'm just gonna do my yoga and do my thing. If I'm beautiful or not, I don't care, but I'm gonna dress as I would if I wasn't this beautiful. I'm just gonna be who I am,
It's gonna be me. That's it. Yeah. Yeah. The moral of the story is be you, the authentic you, and go back and listen to this episode again to go on the journey of finding the real you.
But speaking about her, this is very interesting because when it came to actually attracting those kind of men that I wanted to attract, that you talked about, and it was actually not to listen to your advice. It was to listen to your wife.
Really?
When it comes to energies.
Yeah.
Because, and I don't know if you've thought about this one.
Tell me.
The energy she was when you found her, because I followed her back then.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Because of yoga?
Yeah.
Oh, no, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
No.
And she's my biggest girl crush, by the way. So. But she was in very much her healed masculine energy. And that's what many men are not saying, because I do believe that is because it sounds a little bit gay and men don't want to sound gay. But like, I like my women masculine, you don't want to say that. But she was in a lot of drive, a lot of purpose, a lot of action, and to a man that is very attractive, consciously or unconsciously, because that is the lioness woman that you see could potentially be the mother of your children.
That's right.
And as a healed man, you're looking for the woman that could, this is like tearing me up, that could replace you as the father if you had to leave this place.
Yeah.
So she was in her feminine energy, but she was a lot in her healed masculine.
She was.
Not the wounded, because the wounded we don't like. We don't like that as women or men, like someone who is, I'm not going to receive help from anyone. I'm not going to ask anyone for help. I can do everything on my own. That's the wounded masculine. Like,
Yeah.
she was still open.
Yeah, she was.
But driven.
I love that. She absolutely was. How do people get a hold of you, follow you, learn more about you?
Yeah, it's Jenny Dinovi on Instagram, and Brave Souls podcast is my own little podcast.
I love that. I love that. Yeah. And you film it in Sweden?
I'm not filming it with a camera. It's just me and my microphone. So I'm just speaking my shit with the microphone, and it's working.
I like that. Keep doing that. Yeah. I love that. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much.
And thank you for doing the work, because I want to say something. I love people who don't need. I love people who don't want. And this happens so organically because you never once reached out to me. You never once asked me to be on the show. You didn't need, you didn't want. You just were you. In the power of you. And the power of you attracted, right? I was like, oh, we got to get you on the show, because all I want for humanity is to step into their power. And so when I see people who are in their power, to be honest, it doesn't matter following, none of that matters. The energy is what matters to me. When I see people in their power, trust me, if you are in your power and you're out there and you want to have a conversation someday, it's going to happen. Our energies are going to pull each other in to have a conversation to help heal humanity. And that's what this podcast did. So thank you.
You're saying that so much in your content too, to live your, like, be focused on, your own energy and your own work, and it will be, your dreams will be attracted to you. And you didn't know that this was my biggest dream, to sit here. So
no.
Now it's happening. Yeah.
I love that. I love that. And go back and think about what we spoke about, attracting a partner. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. You're the one creating it all from your energy. So yeah, thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Yeah. That's this week's episode of The Higher Self. Honest to God, I would say go back and watch this one again, and go share this one again. And I have to say thank you, because my book, I've been writing it for so long. I just realized that the path I took is the path you took, and it might be the answer for the path for people to take, in the awakening journey. So I got a couple of chapters that I want to rewrite. So thank you for that.
Wow.
Yeah. Thank you. We'll see you next week on The Higher Self.